Well, y'all seem to like it when I did Sonic 1, so time for our game 2. I could just end the intro there, but some words. I'll probably be a lot more positive in this video, considering Sonic 2 is not only one of my favorite Sonic games, but also one of my favorite games in general. It wasn't on my list because Mania, but I digress. Pretty much the same rules of the first video applies, but unlike the first of its 6, we have 9 unique zones to rank. Sonic 2 really does a great job trimming the fat with 2 acts instead of 3. We will get to that zone later. But one thing is actually, thanks for the support. It really means the world to me, and hopefully I can cover all the other Sonic games as well. With all that out of the way, let's dive right in. Let's get the big question out of the way. Is this a better first stage than Green Hill? Well, in my opinion, no. However, that doesn't mean it's bad. It's far from that. Emerald Hill is really fun to run in, like Green Hill. Get 1-ups and get a feel for the controls. Honestly, while I still like the zone, it really just feels like we got Green Hill at home. I can't think of anything it does that Green Hill does, but I can't stress it enough, it's not necessarily a bad thing. One thing it gets a leg up is there being more ranks for special stages. While getting special stages here is different, they're pretty generous checkpoints and ranks. I still think it deserves A tier for basically being a copy of Green Hill, but still fun. By far the second most iconic zone next to Green Hill, and deserved. For one, the theme is really unique and creative, and they utilize it pretty well. Above all, the zone just makes you feel fast. There are plenty of times where you run down these tubes and get a height of momentum and soar for the air. There are also plenty of rings, perfect for getting special stages. However, here's where some of my criticisms lie. This zone showers you with rings and 1-ups. There will be an increase of 1-ups from when you enter the zone and when you leave. It makes the upcoming zones easy. Speaking of, the first act is quick. It's possible to finish it without getting a single checkpoint. And then the second zone. There's this cool set piece where chemicals rise and you have to climb up before you drown. 1, purple, our favorite color. Sonic is slow. 2, that's cool. Got no notes. What I do have notes are these blocks Sonic can fall on and he has to do the set piece again. Except it's not a set piece this time. It's just slow. I like that Sonic is such a trial and error game, but most players will die anyway at that, so why not just kill Sonic if he falls? Despite that though, I still love this zone, giving it an A tier here. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a banger here. While the theme has already been done, I still like that they make it unique enough, like all the pillars around and more vibrant. You guys realize how Sonic has 3 ruined zones at this point? Again, this one has more of a Greek feeling to it. Now, whatever game takes Greek is for the NES. This zone is also home to every gamer's favorite thing. Water. Now, considering how awful Labyrinth Zone is, you'd think this zone is just as bad, but the zone does something cool. See, if you're good enough and stick to the top half of the zone, you don't have to enter the water at all. It's a great incentive to get good and slow down. And you know what? Going for the underwater section isn't the worst as well. I'd prefer to go fast, but this isn't bad. You got plenty of chances to get out of the water if you do fall, and vice versa. My only complaint are the enemies. Once you expect them, they're fine, but first time they are annoying. It's annoying when you're going fast, but an arrow or grounder takes you off guard and sends you to the lake. But again, once you know how to spot them when they pop up, they're fine. So, this zone is an easy S tier. We got another banger with this one. See, the past 3 zones have been generous with rings, so why don't we make the next stage with slot machines. Slot machines. I don't know who at Sega thought of this theme, but I do not care. The idea of the slot machines in a kid's game is so funny to me. You either win big or lose it all with these. There's no in between. And you don't even need the machines. You can play this zone well and still get enough ranks for special stages and whatnot. This zone is also just fun in general, with plenty of pinball flippers and springs to just bounce around. The stage is also just themed around pinball, which makes sense. Overall, really fun theme and gimmicks that carry it to S tier. Also, yeah, insert Celestia, Ludenberg, Danganronpa reference here. Underrated. This zone gets a lot of flack and is considered a weaker zone, and to an extent I agree. However, when you're up against S tiers, you'll be in for a hard time. I agree with the main criticism. Way too much stuff blocks you. Spikes, springs, all get in your way. On top of that, the stage's main gimmick, the seesaws, aren't that fun. However, while I still got my nitpicks, I think the stage has plenty of cool ideas. The stage's main theme is a mountain, and the stage design reflects that by having you jump a lot. Kind of like Kid Icarus for the NES, my favorite NES game. Well, I personally dislike the seesaws. They really add to the stage's aesthetic. I also love the set pieces where the lava rides and you have to escape as fast as possible. While the first set piece has issues, the second fixes all those up to where I have a really fun time trying to escape. Overall, while it probably is the weakest zone so far, it's by no means bad and I have a fun time. B tier. Since we're getting to the later half of the game, it's a good time now to tell you all of the secret level code. On the menu where you simply press start, instead press up to find the options menu. Then go to the sound test and play sounds 19, 65, 09, and 17. Exit menu, then hold S on the keyboard where you press start and voila! Like with the last, this will be how we enter levels from now on. And you, Mystic Cave. While the cave isn't unique, they did do a good job making it stand out by being spooky. While not necessarily scary, the Halloween aesthetic is telling with the purples and greens of the stage and the background having another layer of ground, giving the feeling you're not alone. I fell into this hole and Uboa from Yuminiki was there. Wonderful. I also like how all the enemies are bug themed as well as giving more of that cave feeling. As for the stage itself, it's got strengths and weaknesses. I like overall the stage is more tougher than before while it's still having moments to go fast. The stage is chock full of rings and checkpoints if you want to try to nab an emerald, which I can appreciate. However, there are some parts I find to be unfair, namely the holes you can fall in. I get why it's there to patch up the secret stage hidden palace. Place your cyber shell comments here. But at that point, just patch up the hole. The other main hazard is being crushed, but they get away with that because this is a later stage. So in my opinion, you can introduce some one-hit kill hazards, and they're pretty slow anyway. Overall, I give this zone A tier. A fairly balanced difficulty spike, but still has some quirks. Okay, I know I opened the last segment with a Chico, but do you really love the Oil Ocean song and wish it played in Chemical Plant? Well, do I got the code for you. Go 01, 01, 02, 04, and now no matter in the sound test, and no matter what you do, Oil Ocean will play. Ain't that fun? Speaking of Oil Ocean, again, like with Hilltop, this is considered a weaker zone, Sonic 2 zone. Is it deserved? Yeah, kinda. Something I haven't mentioned is how all the later Sonic 2 zones have a bit of a story. You climb up the hilltop, find Mystic Cave somewhere in the mountain, exit into Oil Ocean, which is one of two Eggman bases, the other being Metropolis, then you soar while Eggman escapes to Wing Fortress and Death Egg. The basic idea is this outside Metropolis zone. Once again, the presentation is great. The actual levels, though, look, with Mystic Cave, the zone let you go at your own pace. Here, you are thrown into hazards left and right, thanks to stuff like the elevators and sludge waterfalls. There is no real room to breathe and go fast. It's kind of discouraged with fans and the elevators. Now, there are some fun stage gimmicks, like the rockets and these spikes, but overall, this stage is miserable. Again, there's plenty of stuff I like about it to save it from F tier. So, this'll go in C tier. Surely the next zone will be fun, right? I mean, do I even need to? So far, this game has well established that instead of 3 acts like Sonic 1, these zones just need 2 acts. They don't overstay their welcome, they're good. So, for the technical final zone, we have 3 full acts, which was so unneeded. If this was just 2 acts, it'd be a lot more tolerable. But no, you get 3 full acts of pure suffering. To be fair, this stage has a couple positives. I like the spear blocks and the tubes you go in. So anyway, those Staryu knockoffs, huh? On their own, they're okay, but it's going up those tedious long screws, only for them to explode and ruin your day. And oh boy, that part where it loops over and over until you find a way to escape sure makes me want to bang my head on the wall. The reason Scrap Brain worked was because it felt like a testament of skill. And I get why they wanted 3 acts to make it more imposing, but there's so little I like about it that it's an easy F tier. Well, one last zone. Will it show how great Sonic 2 truly is? I get there are technically these are technically two zones, but how Sky Chase leads into Wing Fortress in the overall theme, I'm just counting it as one zone. So, the true final zone. How well is it? Well, pretty good in my opinion. The first act is so calming. It's a great time to just relax, reflect on the journey, and listen to the nice music. Then we get to Eggman's airship as Tails falls down with the tornado as you make to Wing Fortress in one leap. By far the best stage opener, no notes for me. As for the stage itself, it's pretty good. It takes everything great about Scrap Brain and puts it into the sky. Plus, there's a plenty of times to go fast, especially on top of the airship, which is my main criticism. If you fall on the lower part of the airship, you have to see Sonic slowly fall to his doom, then to start again. The most aggravating part is the opening, where you have to climb these monkey bars, which are pretty finicky. There'd be times where I was sure I got to them and plummeted to my doom. Especially frustrating considering it's the opening, so you have to watch the opening cutscene again before getting a chance to try again. It's a nitpick to be fair, but it really holds it from the S tier. Still, I have an absolute blast on the stage. It feels so cool to pull stunts here, knowing the abyss is waiting for you to fall. I give the final zone A tier. So, there you go. There's every Sonic 2 zone ranked. A real improvement over Sonic 1. Although, some of the later stages need work. Still, I love Sonic 2 a lot. It's a great game to just play for a bit, which I love in a game. And just because I ragged on it, doesn't mean I hate it. If you gotta have some F tiers to truly appreciate the S tiers. So what's next? Sonic CD or Sonic 3 and Knuckles? Well, there's a couple things I want to hone in on these two games for, but those are for a different day. Thanks for watching, and look at my cool Tails figure, isn't that cool?